To the baby. Hi guys, I am here with my Dreams and Miracles book by Anne Spangler, and I'm here to read you guys a story. These are all true stories, by the way, in case anybody is just now tuning in. This one is A Dream Brought Us Together, and it's by Jack Sutin. I will start off by reading the introduction, which is it's a couple paragraphs. So, Jack and Rochelle Sutin were both born in Stolpus, a town in eastern Poland. By coincidence, their mothers were the two female dentists in town, though they never knew each other. Shortly after Jack was born, his parents moved to the nearby city of Mir. Both Jack and Rochelle endured the unspeakable horrors visited upon the Jews of Poland during World War II. The accounts of their separate escapes and love story is told in powerful and vivid detail in their award-winning book, Jack and Rochelle, A Holocaust Story of Love and Resistance, published by Grey Wolf Press. After the war, the Sutins married and immigrated to America, where Jack established a successful import business. Their daughter Cecilia graduated from the University of Minnesota, while their son Larry earned degrees from the University of Michigan and Harvard Law School. Remarkably, Jack and Rochelle might never have fallen in love nor survived the war had it not been for a dream Jack had in September 1942. Now, we will begin Jack and Rochelle's story. In June 1942, we learned that the Nazis were secretly planning to liquidate the Mir ghetto in 2 months' time. A group of us decided to escape. We fled just 4 days before the mass killings. Though we had no hope of surviving, we were determined to die in our own way rather than at the hands of those who hated us. We made our home in the woods, raiding the local farms for food. Living above ground would have been suicide, so we carved a bunker out of a small mound of dirt. The entrance was so narrow that only one person could slip through at a time. Once inside, the stench of unwashed bodies fouled the air and made it difficult to breathe. We were like moles packed into a dirty hole. We couldn't help but wonder what would happen when the Germans discovered our hiding place. One grenade lobbed down the entry hole would have blown us to bits, but it was the best we could manage. Once I got used to the idea that I hadn't long to live, I wasn't afraid anymore. As the leader of the group, I took huge risks, raiding the houses of Nazi sympathizers only 2 miles from German police headquarters. The people actually put a price on my head, and I was glad to hear it. Jewish life had become much too cheap. Let them pay for a change. Then in September 1942, I had a strange and very powerful dream. I never doubted it foretold the future. My dream gave me a reason to live. I heard a voice. It was the voice of my mother, Sarah, who had been murdered by the Nazis. She told me I would meet a girl named Rochelle Shiflett in the woods and that she and I would stay together. I didn't see my mother, but only heard her words. As soon as she stopped speaking, I saw Rochelle's face very clearly. When I woke, I couldn't stop thinking about the dream. Rochelle had been an acquaintance of mine before the war, but we had never dated. Why would she appear in my dream? I didn't even know whether she was still alive. Even had she survived a liquidation of the Stopus ghetto, the odds that we would meet in this portion of the woods were 1,000,000 to 1. It couldn't happen, but somehow I knew it would. I was so sure that I insisted we carve an extra space for Rochelle as we prepared the winter bunker. The others in the group must have thought I was losing my mind, but they went along because they needed me. 3 months later, I was sitting in the bunker when one of the lookouts told me that some Jewish women were approaching. When I went out to meet them, I saw Rochelle standing with 2 friends. They had heard the story about how this crazy Jack Sutin wanted to save a place in the bunker for a girl he hardly knew. Rochelle had escaped from Stopus, where her entire family had been murdered by the Nazis. She and her friend Tanya had narrowly evaded capture and death more than once in their month-long trek in the woods. When I saw her, she was full of lice, wrapped in a blanket and wearing 2 left boots. Starving cold and dispirited, she had actually been on the point of returning to the ghetto, hoping for a German bullet to end her misery. Fortunately, she met a farmer who convinced her she was crazy to go back. "Wait, don't be silly," he told her. "See that little hill over there near the woods? There are some Jewish boys and girls living there in an underground bunker. They'll help you. Don't go back to Stopus." The group of Jews brought Rochelle to me. Rochelle didn't exactly fall into my arms, but she accepted my offer of shelter. Her friend Tanya was not so lucky. Food and space in the bunkers were at a premium, so I arranged for her to stay with a local farmer who sympathized with us. Later, she was killed by some Russian people who raided the farm. Finding Rochelle was like a miracle to me. It gave me confidence that someone was watching over us in the midst of our hell on earth. I had a new reason to stay alive. For her part, Rochelle was too exhausted to feel much of anything. At first she thought I had made up the dream, but eventually I convinced her of my love. What would have happened had I not believed the dream? Only God knows the answer to this question, but I shudder to think how different things could have been had I ignored the message that came to me that night. And that was A Dream Brought Us Together by Jack Sutin. I hope you enjoyed Jack's story, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Bye, guys. God bless.